Good morning. I am Tina Bailey, and I want to welcome you to the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces, where our vision is a world in loving partnership for the good of all. As you can see, since you are now watching on your YouTube channel, we have decided to take a few weeks off from in-person gathering. So we will be on YouTube at least through the end of February. Please watch our newsletter and website for updates. And we do appreciate you tuning in. I want to welcome anyone watching us for the first time. And please know you can call us if you have any questions. We do have a new member orientation scheduled. Please call and set up a phone appointment for getting oriented to joining our center. Please forgive all the changes in plans. These are truly interesting times, and we just go with the flow because that's who we are. And we believe in the power of prayer, which we call spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. While we are meeting via YouTube, you can only use the prayer request button on our website to submit your request. Our prayer team, made up of practitioners and ministers from the 4 New Thought communities here in Las Cruces, will pray with you weekly in regard to your request. And on the website, you may request that a practitioner contact you. In addition, we'd love to hear from you about what you are grateful for, so please submit that on our website as well. And now is the time for song, silence, and prayer.
In this moment, I am grace. Grace is this moment. Grace, grace, grace. This moment is what I am. In this moment, I am peace. Peace is this moment. Peace, peace, peace. This moment is what I am. In this moment, I am still. Still is this moment. Still, still, still. This moment is what I am.
We come together at this time knowing that we are all connected, for truly we are all one. And Spirit is in the midst of us, whether we're gathering in person or in front of our computer. Spirit is everywhere and always present. And we are one, and all is right with the world. Yes, it is. We believe in tithing to recognize our source, and our January tithe recipient is the Oak Street Veterans Apartments, which is a supportive community and resource which bridges housing for 22 formerly homeless veterans under the management of the Mesilla Valley Community of Hope. They have many needs as they navigate independent living, while the complex strives to help supply them with basic items, such as a food pantry, clothing, blankets, sheets, towels, personal hygiene items, and cleaning supplies. Please repeat after me. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, in me, and so it is. We appreciate your tithes and offerings and know that it's difficult not being able to bring them on Sunday in person. However, feel free to drop it by the office. There's a slot in the door, so you can bring it by even when there's no one here. Or there's a way on the website to do your tithes and offering. Thank you for your time and support of the Center for Spiritual Living in the heart of Las Cruces. And at this time, I just know that our time together has been blessed, that we are all a part of the divine flow in the universe, and that we are blessed by life, we are blessed by knowing Spirit, and we recognize the awesomeness of everyday life. Our reading for today is from Ernest Holmes' Science of Mind textbook, page 41.2. The universe is impersonal. It gives alike to all. It is no respecter of persons. It values each alike. Its nature is to impart, ours to receive. When we stand in the light, we cast a shadow across the pathway of our own experiences. Emerson advises that we get our bloated nothingness out of the way of the divine circuits. And from Napoleon Hill, in Think and Grow Rich, he says, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today. It's Doug Bailey, my incredible husband. We believe that we met here by divine invitation. I arrived in 1971 when my son was 18 months old. I had to wait until Doug arrived in about 1982. But I tell you, it was worth the wait. We were definitely two different personalities with drastically different life experiences. So it was a blessing when he introduced me to the teachings of Ernest Holmes, and the classwork inspired positive changes in our lives. It certainly did change the trajectory of my life. Hard to believe, but we've been married for 36 years, and we still love each other. He is my best friend, my partner, and we do most everything together, including studying together and receiving our religious science practitioner licenses in 1991 through this center. We are business owners and feel Spirit has guided us successfully through some tough times. The first 4 weeks in January so far has focused on the awe in daily life, with references to the first 4 chapters of Ernest Holmes' Science of Mind textbook. We heard stories of the recognition of awe by members of our group, and were reminded especially of how easily it is seen all around us when we are in the present moment. Reverend Bonnie offered a way to shift our experience of a situation in our life from fear or confusion to wonder or awe, from fear to faith, and then acknowledge the awe. Lillian reminded us that our very bodies, of course, are awesome. Just think of all the functions, the systems, the brain and organs that work together for our bodies to operate. And Peggy reminded us that we are the author of our lives every day. So what do you want your story to say?
Power and might, one with God.
I am delighted now to introduce our speaker for today, my best friend, Doug Bailey.
You truly are my best friend, too. Traditionally, in religious science centers, each January, we look at the first 4 chapters of Ernest Holmes' text, which look at the thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. Tina and I, as business people, are most impressed with results and what works. In our talk this morning, we would like to do something a little different. Look at these 4 chapters of Holmes from a macro perspective and see how they express in some of men's results out of the past to the present. Then to view them from a micro perspective in how they can be used now and into the future. Holmes says that the combined thought of those who inhabit a nation create a national consciousness. He also points out that God is forever doing new things. When we conceive new ideas, it is an act of the divine projecting itself into creation. I believe Holmes is telling us that we individually and collectively create a mental atmosphere around ourselves and our communities that serve as a catalyst or a disincentive for our decision making, and our creativity. We should then be able to see the negative or positive results reflected in the improving condition of the world, as well as the effectiveness of the mental environment in which we are operating. The atmosphere of the last 2 centuries fostered a creativity which has significantly improved the quality of life of mankind, which we can see in three major areas. The first area is the Industrial Revolution, which began in 1760, bringing innovation and creativity to products, production methods, and materials. And if we include product distribution and transportation, the revolution would bring us to the 2020s. The ultimate result in this industrial revolution is that it has brought with it significant enhancements in the quality of life for mankind around the world. In the case of the British who started the Industrial Revolution and the American culture which has continued it, the critical environmental factors have been personal freedom and capitalism, expressing through innovation and capital creation and utilization, business creation, and employment. Holmes's philosophy would suggest that innovation and creativity of the Industrial Revolution was inspired by the divine as a central component of its creation in the mid-1700s, continuing to today. Holmes further infers that the prevailing social consciousness is reflected in the quality of the creativity and productivity of our experiences. Our second major area is information management, primarily driven by the personal computer, which was launched in 1980 and reaching 2.5 billion worldwide today. The other ingredient has been the development of the internet, which began in 1997 and which today has 2.5 billion users worldwide with access to the internet through their personal computers and mobile phones. The personal computer and internet have improved access to information, assisted in problem solving, business and financial management, and it has also been an instrument in developing the development of networks and merchandising, providing a major tool for worldwide product acquisition and distribution. The third and last major area is global communication, including Google, founded in 1998, with 4.5 billion users today. Facebook, founded in 2004, with 2.8 billion users today, providing platforms for distribution of information and networks. Then there is also the mobile phone, created in 1972, and has grown into 6.4 billion phones in the world today. This is very significant when you consider the world's population is approximately 7.9 billion. The innovation in these three areas were started with the British and were primarily advanced within the American economy. The world tends to reward significant innovation which enhances the world's quality of life with financial success. How does this relate to Holmes' teaching? Holmes clearly identified the importance of the mental atmosphere created by a population's consciousness. The effectiveness of individuals today and in the 18th century would be the way they were rewarded by their environment. Clearly, the richest people in the world from the late 1800s through the beginning of the 21st century tended to be Americans. Today, 9 of the 12 top richest people in the world are Americans, clearly identifying that environment that they are functioning in as a remarkably productive environment, especially when you consider that none of the 12 richest people were dependent upon generational fortunes from the past, and most developed their wealth within the 21st century. Ernest Holmes says all invention, art, literature, government, law, and wisdom that comes to the race has been given to it through those who have deeply penetrated the secrets of nature and the mind of God, either consciously or unconsciously. The creativity of individuals has been at the root of most dynamic innovation with positive global impact. This innovation, again, is dependent upon an environment which requires the use of technology and information management, and encourages freedom of expression, openness, innovation, and creativity. The process of change has accelerated as new innovations come into our subjective environment, as the last 20 years have shown. The American environment, which has nurtured much of the recent innovation, is dependent upon a national consciousness that continues to foster freedom, openness, and innovation. Ernest Holmes says, spiritual wisdom says God manifests through everything and is incarnate in all men. He goes on to point out that the nature is the body of God, spontaneous recognition of law, giving it the power to bring into practical use in our daily lives. So what of the future? I have just finished Niall Ferguson's book, The Square and the Tower, a history of network and power, in which he describes the emotional impact of Siena, Italy, on not only the title of his book, but the book's perspective. Ferguson saw a beautiful tower in a square in Siena, Italy. On its second floor is the Room of Nine. This is the room in which the 9 elected officials ruled the Republic of Siena. In this room are 3 frescoes. On the west wall is the fresco of war, depicting its horror. On the east wall is the fresco of peace, depicting its beauty and tranquility. Between them on the north wall is the fresco of good government, which creates both. The frescoes were intended as a reminder to the 9 officials of just how much was at stake as they made their decisions. It would serve mankind if there was a similar reminder in each seat of power around the world where decisions were made that affected mankind and our planet. Holmes would say there is no them and us, there is only us, because we are one with the whole. And it is critical we act accordingly around the world. In a world of them and us, how do we create a world consciousness that creatively builds together rather than a world of special interest groups which collectively, with a collective consciousness which undercuts one another? Let us look at the tools we have to help. Global communication through the internet, personal phones and personal computers. Global economics and economic interdependence. Growing networks around the world which thrive in an environment of global cooperation and die in an environment of global conflict. Throughout history, there has been many motivations which trigger creative thought. Obviously, finance is one. The needs of family, community, religion, and nations are others which have served on numerous occasions to trigger change. As we watch history unfold with its decisions and consequences, from the democracies of ancient Athens through the Renaissance to today's internet, we recognize in many ways the necessity truly has been the mother of invention. Let us see ourselves sitting in the room of nine, surrounded by the frescoes of war and violence, and the frescoes of peace and plenty. And as religious scientists, we recognize that the decisions will be made by a world consciousness, or at least driven by national consequences. Do we build together or destroy? Tools exist to create the world consciousness necessary for peace, when aligned with divine mind, would allow spirit to create something new and wowable. As religious scientists, we know the power of divine mind and know that there is a 100th monkey point in our future where the world would overwhelmingly recognize and embrace global peace and prosperity over its alternative. Ours is a remarkable world with remarkable potential which needs to be communicated to and embraced by every generation around the world. What better mission for religious science than to be a principal resource in the unfoldment of a world that works for everyone? Our mission today is to absolutely recognize what a magnificent and awesome world we have. What a remarkable future lays before mankind, and communicate it, especially to the younger generations, that peace and prosperity are absolutely in your and their future. Focus on the good. Keep it in your prayers. In conclusion, to summarize, Holmes points out that individually and collectively, we create a mental atmosphere around ourselves which basically drives the nature of the creativity of our groups. We have also seen that there has been an explosion of innovation and creativity over the last 200 years, which has improved the overall quality of the life of man. We have also seen that the explosion in information management and global communication has increased the tempo of change around the world. The task for mankind in the future is to get beyond both them and us and war or peace to a place where the world consciousness embraces peace and prosperity and the recognition that we are all in this together, that there is no them and us, but only us. I challenge religious science to be one of the catalysts of the 100th monkey realization that creates this world consciousness, communicating to all generations all over the world what a wonderful world this is and what a fantastic opportunity we all have to truly make a difference in our world. And so it is.
So let us take a moment and pray. Recognizing, as we've been listening to, that we are truly one, that Spirit in the midst of us is mighty, that we are all connected, that we are all a part of this incredible human family. And the more that we step out into our day and operate from that perspective, the more ease and grace we see unfolding in our lives and in the lives of others. That the more that we can know this, the more that we can operate from that perspective, we do make a difference in the unfoldment in the world in the coming years. So I invite you to take these words and take them out into your everyday life. To smile at people, to say hi, to know that there is no separation, that we are all a part of Spirit. And watch the magnificent unfoldment in your life and in your affairs and in everyone around you, where we all come together as this one giant, magnificent human family, where we know that all is right with the world, that peace absolutely does reign, and so it is.